so get your hands off.
What's it like being Marilyn then?
Very difficult, actually. It is so now, isn't it? You know, the whole casting couch approach is absolutely the opposite of where we are now as women. But she was the most fantastic icon of the 60s, stereotype symbol of sex goddess. And it's fantastic to play that role. Of course, very difficult because I'm completely the opposite to Marilyn Monroe. I've got a sort of swimmer's physique, and I've got a skinny face, and she had a much rounder face. And I'm double her age, I think, ish. So it makes it very difficult, and women don't behave, or I suppose some women behave in that way, but it's a very different role from now.
How do you pull it off? Is it to do the spirit of the person as opposed to the exact look?
Well, I suppose it's a bit of an actor's role, isn't it? Suddenly you've got to sort of put yourself in the skin of somebody else. So she was a sort of breathy, busty, sex, wobbling. She always shimmered and wobbled. And so I tried my best, whatever that means. It was hard work. Thank you for your direction. But what really helped in creating an image is looking at myself in the mirror. So you can see that out-of-body experience through the mirror. And Marilyn Monroe always said of herself, when she looked at an image of herself, who's that woman? Meaning that the image of yourself, the mirror image of yourself, the ego of yourself, if you like, is so different from the inner person.
And do you find it's hard to bring that inner person out? Does it come naturally?
Well, I think Marilyn Monroe, as a sex goddess, was putting on an act herself. I mean, that's what she was saying.
Are you doing that in society today? Is that what you're saying with your work?
Yes, I think you wake up in the morning thinking, oh, I've got to face the world, and you slap yourself around the face a bit, throw water over your face, and go out with the image of yourself that's expected of you.
Okay. And how do you choose your subject matters?
I think I choose people because they're in the news, they're topical, they're influencing our lives in some way. Like Donald Trump influences us, and yet he wants to be in the news, and he's an icon of trouble, if you like, and controversy. And Kim Kardashian is famous for being famous. The Queen is a role model of sort of sweet old woman, grandmother type of monarch stereotype. So I think every celebrity has a role. They're like mini saints to us. They represent something, and they're better than the real religion.
What is real? What is real? What's the definition
Well,
of real?
Christianity. I mean, more people read celebrity magazines and sites than they do go to church. So I think it is our new folk religion.
And for you, and like when you're working in these situations, what's the most embarrassing or difficult story that's happened to you? Do you remember?
Oh, well, I mean, lots of embarrassing stories. I'm always getting arrested, being chased by police. Yes, all the time, because I'm always with people who look like famous people. Crowds of people form, flash mobs appear from nowhere. When I was in New York, Fifth Avenue was closed down because I took the Donald Trump lookalike to Trump Tower. About 5,000 people appeared within seconds, literally.
Really?
And so nobody could move, the traffic was stopped, the police were called, and the only way the police could move us on was to do a deal with us. So I said, give me 10 minutes outside Trump Tower. The press wanted a photograph with the Donald Trump lookalike outside Trump Tower and do a few interviews and things. So the police said, okay, we can take you there with sirens and lights. Stay there for 10 minutes and then you have to move on, otherwise we're locking you up. So that was our deal. So they closed the whole street down, sirened and blue lighted us all the way there. And I couldn't have paid for that. I couldn't have ever got permission for that. Similarly with the royal family, I took in a horse and carriage down Piccadilly and flash mobs appeared from nowhere. Piccadilly was closed down. The horses, the police were going crazy, get those horses out of Piccadilly. And, well, Anyone can take a horse down Piccadilly.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, of course you can. It's completely legal loophole.
And if in these 5 minutes we were saying this is uncovering Alison Jackson, how would you uncover yourself?
How would I uncover myself? Well, I can take my wig off and show you what I'm like. And I'm actually a very private person. So I'm very interested in those private public persona that one puts on compared to the private self and the difference of that. And how Marilyn Monroe herself said, who's that woman, when she looked at a photograph of herself, because she felt she was so different from the public image that she put on, that she was known for. She had a totally different character to that than when she was in private.
Let's see.
Yes, okay, let's try with the mirror.
Here you go.
I've just learned this blowing. Can you,
like that?
Oh, I can't see myself.
How's that?
So I was trying this blowing motion, because I don't look anything like Marilyn. If I blow, do I look vaguely like her?
Spirit,
so basically, if I take this off...
Oh, you look so gorgeous.
Well, I'm not sure I look gorgeous, but that's what I look like.
Yeah.
Very different. And basically, so that is more of what I look like. Think about my work, write my work, and make new work.
Yeah. In terms of your new work, what's on the cards for you? Where do you see your work going in what direction?
Well, I'm just making a film at the moment. I'm just making a film at the moment on the making of my Donald Trump sculpture, which has been a nightmare.
Why?
Well, because everything's gone wrong and people have had tantrums and nobody can get the likeness right.
Yeah.
Right down to the colour of his skin. I mean, God, it's been a nightmare. And it's hard work when you're so exacting to try and make something so perfectly Donald Trump. It's just hard work. You know, I'm not quite sure what's more difficult, you know, the real Donald Trump or making a sculpture of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But anyway, I sort of finished it and I'm putting together a film about the making of it. And actually, I hope to show it next week.
Oh, great.
And so we'll see.
Press.
Yes, but I also have enormous difficulties with the moving of the Donald Trump because it's deemed to be indecent.
Yeah.
I can't actually get it out of the mover's truck to the gallery, which is quite some distance, without it exposing itself and exposing to the public. So that's going to be an interesting moment. I hope I don't get arrested. It's always my worry. But this time, I think, you know, it's a dangerous moment for me because I could get 2 years jail, which I would really...
Is that the sentence?
Yeah.
For indecent exposure.
For indecent exposure. But
Is
I'll
the
wrap it
sculpture
up.
indecent exposure? No, is it?
It is. Well, it's not anything kind of... I'm not showing anything rude.
It's the idea of.
It's the idea. And the problem is that my work does fire the viewer's imagination.
Yes.
And once the viewer's imagination is fired, whatever you say, you can't eradicate what they feel they've already seen.
Yes.
Even if they haven't actually seen any rude action.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing.
Yeah.
The power of the imagination is so powerful.
It's stronger sometimes than the actual...
It's stronger than the actual thing.
Yeah.
So always my premise has been to emote the viewer, to fire the viewer, or to fire the viewer's imagination.
Yes.
I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So it's a great honour to have the imagination of the viewers, you know, activated.
Yes.
And I love
That's
that.
connection.
But, and that my photographs are not passive, not something you just walk by. You either love it or hate it. And people hate me because of my work. It's a very strong reaction that people have. It's,
I think that's an interesting thing about art is you want people to react to it one way or another, and it triggers something rather than it being something that you just walk past. So I think that's
it's a hard thing to do.
Artist. Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do because when I was first started at the Royal College of Art, I really didn't want to do photography. I thought it was a lying, deceitful medium, not proper or truthful.
Yeah.
So I thought the only way forward was to make work about how it was such a revolting, slimy medium that we shouldn't trust. So I made all of this body of work. And I thought, well, if I'm going to make a new body of work, I really don't want people just to walk by.
Yes.
How do you engage the public and get a reaction from the viewer?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I wasn't thinking, I'll do this, 2, I'll do that, 3, I'll do that. It was a much more fluid, natural, organic process. But that was at the heart of it, I think.
I mean, here we've got some of the images, that we've been scrolling during your talk. We can't really see.
Yes.
But there's a lot.
Okay, I can see them there. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, let's just go through them. So, yes, I made all of these so they look completely realistic. So I wanted it to really replace the real. Yeah. So that actually, if you just scroll through them fast, that's a video, that basically you couldn't really tell what was real and what wasn't, which is we can't tell what's real or fake anymore. This was to replace the real. And that's actually my Donald Trump lookalike. And I went through 500 lookalikes, or 500. Look, all of those turned up. None of them looked like Donald Trump. I mean, that guy wanted £5,000 and he wasn't even going to shave his beard off. I mean, it's completely ridiculous. I mean, a casting director, 15 casting directors sent that lot.
Really funny.
Yeah, funny. It cost me thousands and thousands of pounds. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then I had to actually try and find the body double. Yes. And I didn't even direct this lot. Suddenly I've got all these naked men in a room around me. And it's like, oh my God, where do I look? It's hard work. Yeah. Anyway, so a friend of mine who's investigative journalist suggested him. And I said, well, he doesn't look anything like Donald Trump. Yeah. And he said, well, I've gone through, every kind of drugs cartel, every kind of investigative journalist to find a Donald Trump lookalike for you. And he's just come up with him, work your magic, do it. So I put a wig
as well, like getting the expression.
It doesn't really look like Donald Trump at all. Anyway, put a wig on him, made him the right shade of orange, worked my magic, and then I think he looks like Donald Trump.
Amazing. So look at the transformation. Like you have to have some kind of raw material to work with, but then it is work.
He doesn't look anything like Donald Trump. Now he really thinks he's Donald Trump. So he's turned into the monster.
Really?
Like the real Donald. And he goes around saying, Alison Jackson. I don't know who she is. But all he was a guy like in the middle of nowhere, and so basically I've stopped working with him. I've found somebody else now. Yeah. But he is great actually, but he is stuck in the States, so I can't get him out. And I've had to teach him how to walk and talk. The hairstyling is hell. It's hell. Yeah. look, the bad hair day. Yes, I mean, it's just a complete nightmare. And again, like the casting, I been through about 20 different hairstylists. No one could do the hair.
Do you often use wigs or actual natural hair, or how does that work?
Well, I never use the natural hair because it's never the same, is it? I mean, this guy's bald.
Yeah, is he? Perfect. It's easier.
Won't say anything else.
But there is a political motivation.
And then, Donald Trump with the KKK. Well, there's all been that interest right now because he didn't denounce in the debates his interest in the KKK. Yeah. In fact, he was saying stand by them.
Almost,
And there he is standing by them. Yeah. So it's very, this, I wish I could show you this video, but it's not Alabama, it's Richmond Park. I made the whole thing in Richmond Park. with an entire film crew
Yeah.
and exhausted film crew, some sheets and things like that, and a torch. I thought we were going to be lynched, but actually we got away with it.
Yeah, you probably would have been lynched in America. It depends where you were.
Well, actually, I think we were a bit of a terrifying sight.
Yeah, probably people, yes.
I think they were, they thought we were going to lynch them.
Yeah. God. And then you have the Diana series as well, which is...
Oh, yes. Well, so I started with Princess Diana because she had a studio. She had a house outside my studio at the Royal College of Art. And she died. I didn't pay any attention to her before. I don't know if that was your time or not, if you remember that. And the whole country came to a standstill.
Yes. Yeah.
And there was a whole vigil outside, everyone with candles. There was no traffic, nothing. I thought, God, this is crazy. I mean, who knew her? And very few people actually knew Princess Diana
As a person.
As a real person. Yeah. So all of her was created through the media. And the word out from the media was make the world cry. The editors.
Really?
Yeah. And so they did.
There was a lot of crying. I mean, it was a tragic moment for everyone. Everyone identified to that moment.
That's right.
In many
All
ways.
through the media.
I think it triggered also some of our own emotional links to our own lives. It was her it was her, and it was a tragedy of her death, but it was also how it affects our own lives. So I think there is that identification of things that have happened to you in your own life. So, so that's when it triggered you to do this too.
Well, I just thought, how did I feel so emotional about somebody? Because it really upset me, her death.
So you were emotional.
I thought, why do I feel so emotional about this when actually I haven't really met her? I've just been reading newspaper stories. I thought I knew her intimately, and other people did too. They were all crying over her, thinking she was more important than their father or somebody had just died. I mean, the whole thing was scary.
I remember Mother Teresa died at the same time, and there was hardly any cover. Yeah,
she's such a sacred, just so debated, this whole crazy thing. And so I thought, well, I'll make work about her. So I started making work about her and shooting a poster of Princess Diana that was Mario Testino's
I remember that
photograph.
Yeah.
And I was at the Royal College of Art, and they said if I continued to shoot at Mario Testino's photographs, I'd have to leave because I was infringing on his copyright. Come on, nobody's going to see my work in a studio in the Royal College. Anyway, I had to stop. So started to create film about Diana, myself as a lookalike, but unfortunately I just ended up looking like Mara Hindley. We haven't got that photograph there. So that didn't work. So eventually I got some lookalikes of Princess Diana, Dodie and their mixed race child, and made I thought, well, at least then I don't have any legal problems. I'll just get them to sign a model release. That's fine.
Yeah.
So that's what I did, and I started to create work about how was she engaged, was she in love, was she going to get married, was she pregnant, was she murdered because she was pregnant with Dodie, and that caused a fury again at the Royal College of Art. So they wanted to expel me. They couldn't.
Really?
Yes, it was terrible. I wasn't allowed to show any of my work. And so I was hidden away in my studio. Nobody was allowed to visit or see my work. And my work was shown on the very last day I left the Royal College. And I could see Prince Philip coming down the corridor to open the show.
Oh, really?
And then I blinked because I was standing by my picture. And suddenly he'd gone. He'd been vanished. He'd been pushed off into the side corridor, and he never opened the show.
Oh, really?
That's it. All the other students were very disappointed.
Yeah.
And then I came out and to have a look at my photograph 5 minutes later. And the Royal College of Art had ordered all the media and all the press there to take photographs of me.
Really?
So they had organised a whole press day, which launched my career. I got offered a television series when I was fresh out of college.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Coca-Cola Schweppes did an advertising campaign.
Really? Yeah, wow, okay, amazing.
I mean, the Royal College of Art managed it very well. They used it as a platform. They shut me up, used it as a platform to bounce me out with a career and give them a lot of publicity as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So they totally
manage that one.
Yeah. And that was a good thing for you.
Yeah, I think
You felt,
so.
yeah.
I mean, I could have stopped making the work. That was the only danger.
Yeah.
But I suppose I'd made the key ones
Yeah.
of Diana. I didn't really care what else I'd done.
So just scrolling through, so then you've got Meghan and
well, of course, 20 years on,
yeah.
Because the point about Princess Diana's baby was that it was absolute outrage because we're such a prejudiced country there.
Yeah.
And now we've got Harry and Meghan and their baby, and I think we're more joyous about it. But I do, Meghan obviously has had terrible problems, racist problems.
Yeah.
And still does. I made a film about Princess Diana, this one. So this got shut down in Leicester Square. I wasn't allowed to show that. And then I made other work to disguise this and shooting through things.
I see, yeah. And for you, so when you're casting out your radar of what you want to show, you just watch the news or go and or read or no, because it feels quite.
It's in the ether.
Yeah, in the ether, you just capture it. Yeah. Okay.
I suppose that some people might think I'm a news junkie, but I'm not really. So I think the everyday news is stuff that just goes by and by and by. What I like is the collective news, the idea of what Donald Trump represents. He's a man of our time. He's about social media. He's about fake news. He's about lying. He's about showmanship. He's about cartoon-looking, kind of larger-than-life kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
And that he represents, sadly, what we are now. And we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Well, we're really looking forward to seeing your sculpture. Can't wait to see that. Yeah.
Well, I
hope you don't get arrested. Yeah. We'll tune into that soon. Well, thank you so much for coming to speaking with us today. We really enjoyed having you.
Oh, no, I love
here.
it. Thank you very much indeed. It's great. Thank you so much for making this film. It's such a hilarious and enjoyable time. Once you go through all the characters.
Yeah.
Maybe I should be Donald Trump.
Next film, big bodysuit. See how that goes. Yeah.
I think I'd have to make a whole head.
Yeah, so you'd have to do everything over. Just you'd be. Thank you for your work and thank you for being here with us today.
It's a complete delight. Complete delight. Thank you. You're so clever because you've made so many films.
Thank you.
How many films have you made?
We did 10 during lockdown.
So, what a great thing. What a great body of work to do.
It was nice. It was really nice to be able to access that for the public, but also for the artists and connect. Remember when you came, it was like the whole, how do we feel with each other and this managing our social distancing just as much as creating a creative output. And you were so amazing how you like, should we do the Marilyn? Should we not do the Marilyn? It was very organic as well. And then you said, we'll try it on the dress and see how we feel. Right? And then you tried it on and then it was, of course, we're doing Marilyn because you tried it on and you looked so perfect in the Marilyn dress. And then we just went with the flow and it was a really lovely organic shoot. Yeah. And you had your little chocolates tucked away, didn't you? And then you could have for your little energy boost. And you had Stefano and Damien on either side doing your dress, with the
That was so fun.
Yeah.
Actually,
with the fishing rods. I do have some of that.
Some of the fishing rods.
Yeah.
Because it's a lovely behind the scenes.
Yeah, I have a really nice behind the scenes videos of that shoot.
You have?
Yeah, I do. On my phone. Yeah, I'll send them to you. Yeah.
I love that because it's how you make all of that happen.
Yeah, and then you had Ollie doing all the pictures. You had like all these. It was really interesting because you could see the whole set with you.
Yeah.
And the wind. Yeah.
Where can you see those films? Where are you having this show?
It's on Kensington and Chelsea Art.
I've got one in Sweden opening tonight.
Yeah.
What's happening next week?
Hampstead. It's on for a month. I've got one in Nantucket. If you want to go to America. Have I got a show here in England? We've got one picture here.
You've got a picture here, and you've got the other one of.
The
sculpture will be on the news next week.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put
Yeah.
that out on. Do you link in with my socials?
Okay.
Do you? Because you can. It's at Alison Jackson.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
give you a postcard now.
Right.
Jennifer, you can get some postcards out of the flat bag, yeah. And then basically you come to my show. Yeah, it's either going to be here in Portobello or Hanover Square or both. We travel out to both.
Both.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was due to be in New York, you see, in the museum in New York, but I couldn't get it there because of COVID and the museum's shut. So I've got a spare sculpture hanging around, you know.